Hi, I'm Mike, owner of the In-Groove in Phoenix, Arizona. Today I'm going to do the new arrival video for May 14, 2021. So it's a pretty light week. A lot of stuff in the pipeline, but has not come yet. But the big news is Blue Note just announced the next two Classic Series titles. All analog, cut by Kevin Gray. This is their introductory item. So, you got the Tone Poets on the high end, the Classic Series stuff on the lower price spectrum, but it's still an all analog product. Really nice. So the next two titles come out June 25th. That's Jimmy Smith's Back at the Chicken Shack, which I think is actually going to be a hot seller because Music Matters didn't really touch much in the Jimmy Smith catalog. So, I don't think they were very big fans of the organ over there. So this is actually going to be a pretty desirable title. And then Sonny Clark, one of the absolute greatest Blue Note titles of all time. Cool Struttin'. An iconic record. It's an iconic cover. It's also one of the most expensive original Blue Note pressings. Early pressings, first pressings go 5,000 plus in near mint shape. Really, really nice record all the way around. And the Back of the Chicken Shack's a fantastic record too. A lot more accessible to people, getting into jazz. So yeah, get your pre-orders in for those now. June 25th, so not too far away. So the next two Universal titles, the non-Tone Poet series that Universal puts out. So this is essentially all analog tip-on jacket. I've showed you guys many times on the video. Look like a Tone Poet, but they are the Impulse, Decca, Verve, the other Universal labels that they own. It kind of covers that. All analog, put together by the guys over there at Analog Productions. Real solid series. So we got Ray Charles and Gil Evans out of the Birth of the Cool, excuse me. Those actually, I don't have them for the video, but I should have them before this weekend. Get your pre-orders in now. It's really technically out. By the time you watch this video, I probably am going to start shipping them already, but still waiting on the shipment. So yeah, let's show you what I did get this week. So this is actually a pretty interesting title because I've not seen them do this before. Paul McCartney's Ram. Half-speed master, right? But this is an indie exclusive. Now, it's not a color variation or anything of that nature, but when I looked online, it looked like this was only available to independent record stores, which I thought, man, this is awesome. You're taking a heavy hitter title, a Beatles, type title, even though, he's a Beatle, but, and you're giving it exclusively to indie record stores. No Walmart, no Target, independent record stores. So yeah. Paul McCartney, half-speed of Ram. Okay, so this is going to start shipping. I know there's some pre-orders on this. This is the 60th anniversary edition, a 60th anniversary box set that Impulse is putting out. I'll essentially try to get in there so you can see exactly what it is. You've got a turntable slip mat. It's looks like, let's see. It's kind of a compilation of a lot of stuff. We've got some Coltrane, Mingus, Yusuf Lateef, Archie Shepp, Oliver Nelson, Pharoah Sanders. So it looks like it's a 4 LP set, slip mat, pretty solid little book going over kind of the history of Impulse, and they're numbered. So I'm assuming this is not going to be something that stays in print indefinitely. Typically, when they go and number something like this, it's typically a one press deal. So yeah, pretty interesting, kind of to commemorate the 60th anniversary of Impulse. Okay, also new this week, Dramarama, Cinema Verte, and their newest album, Color TV. God, one of the best songs of the 80s is on here. Anything, Anything. Fantastic tune. Used incessantly in movies. But I heard their new record is pretty good. Somebody at the store here was asking me about it. Heard, said it was kind of, sounded just like, sounded just like this. Really well done. You could tell, it's a tip-on jacket, kind of an old school tip-on jacket. Looks really well put together. But I don't know musically how it is. But yeah, this is actually quite difficult to find. You know, this is, I want to say an original, this is probably 50 bucks. It's not a common record. Okay, new Black Keys Indie Color exclusive Delta Cream. On None Such. Doesn't say what the indie exclusive color is, but it is an indie exclusive. St. Vincent's new album, Daddy's Home. What do we have here? Let me go ahead and butcher this up for you guys real quick. This is Yoko Takashiki and Muwagami Hakawasha. Probably not, but you know, that's probably close. This is pressed on opaque pink and magenta splattered vinyl. Anthrax Volume 8. Okay, so everybody knows how fantastic the mono Beatles set is. I talked about that 5 years ago on my Sgt. Pepper review. I told everybody then, when the albums were $23 a piece, to go out and immediately buy them because they're fantastic, and if you didn't buy them now, they're going to be worth a bunch of money someday. Now they're worth a bunch of money. The records are long out of print, but I actually found a distributor that had a stockpile of mono masters. This is all analog. This sounds absolutely fantastic. This is essentially past masters, but using the mono masters. The Beatles didn't put a lot of their hits on the albums, you know, so this is essentially all of their singles lumped onto a record. For all intents and purposes, this is kind of a greatest hits album, although it has some stuff that you would not consider, you know, a greatest hit, like, you know, the foreign language She Loves You and I Want to Hold Your Hand. But this is solid. This is a triple disc. The sound on this is absolutely fantastic. It is all analog. This is a no-brainer. If you do not have this, you should buy this immediately. I wish they would reissue some of those mono titles, or maybe better yet, do the stereo box set, proper all analog. But, you know, if you missed out the first time around, I want to say every single album in that series now is at least $100 bucks. You know, Sgt. Pepper, Magical Mystery Tour, they're close to 300 sealed probably now. The White Album is, I mean, everything in the box set's going for like $2 grand now, the Mono Masters box set. But for retail, I found just some Mono Masters. Some restocks, Tone Poets Classics and Analog Productions. Groovin' at Small's Place, Jimmy Smith. This was part of the 80th anniversary stuff, which is essentially the same as the Classic Series stuff. Okay, restock from Analog Productions, back in print. Julie Is Her Name. Fantastic female vocal album. Also back, All or Nothing at All, Billie Holiday. Fantastic record. And I haven't had this in a little bit. Muddy Waters Folk Singer. This was on my top 10 in-print R&B and blues records you should own. Unbelievably fantastic sounding record. I think I put the 45 RPM on there. This is the 33. Pretty close, sound-wise. Back in stock, Tone Poet. Stanley Turrentine's Hustlin'. Okay, so 2-3 weeks ago, I showed you guys, you know, a bunch of Sam titles that came out. Sam's Records, one of my favorite jazz labels specializing in French releases. All audiophile, you know, it's an audiophile label based out in France. FedEx lost the box. And the box was a box of Billy Harper's. And they lost it. It took them about a month, maybe 3 weeks, a month, for them to finally deliver it. I was going through the claims process. I had already thought that this box was long gone. A month later, the box showed up. So I've got the rest of that order. Unfortunately, all that was in there was Billy Harper. But fantastic record. And I have it in stock. I'm pretty sure it's sold out pretty much everywhere you go. One of my absolute all-time favorite audiophile demo disc, Roger Waters' Amused to Death. I've talked about this many, many times on the channel. Every single time I demo a piece of new gear, if I change a cartridge in my system, a pair of cables, speakers, subs, anything, there's 5 discs that I always try immediately because I know so well how they sound. I know how dynamic they are. This is one of those records. It sounds absolutely phenomenal. You know, it's an amazing record to begin with. Sound aside, you should own it. It's really good. Ella Fitzgerald and Louis Armstrong. This has been out of stock for some time. This is the Analog Productions 45 RPM version. They announced this as part of that Universal Series 33 RPM stuff that I talked about earlier. So you can get an all analog version in the future at 33 RPM. But the 45 RPM is here now. It sounds fantastic. And before they repress this, I want to say they're going for $125. So yeah, in demand. But this Impulse Verve series that they did, well, probably 10 years ago now, was absolutely fantastic. But it looks like they're starting to repress some of the Verve stuff and some of the Impulse stuff. But yeah, that's it, guys. Check us out online, www.theingroove.com, Facebook, Instagram. Until next time.